The alien palace stood like a mountain of crystal, its towers reaching so high they seemed to touch the stars. Inside the great hall, the air was heavy with silence. Rows of alien soldiers in shining silver armor stood at attention. Their helmets glowed faintly, reflecting the strange crystal light that filled the chamber. Alien nobles sat on curved benches carved into the walls, whispering quietly in voices that echoed like music and thunder. At the center of the hall rested the box. It was not large, but its presence was impossible to ignore. The box pulsed with golden light that seeped through thin cracks on its surface. Symbols, alive and shifting, crawled across its sides like rivers of fire. Sometimes the markings glowed so bright they lit the entire hall, then dimmed again as if the box itself was breathing. A low hum came from it, steady and endless, like the heartbeat of some ancient beast. No one touched it. No one dared to go near it. The nobles leaned closer to each other, muttering in fear. Some said the box came from the first makers, beings older than stars. Others swore it was cursed, a test left by gods, meant only for the brave or the foolish. The soldiers kept their eyes fixed forward, but their hands tightened on their weapons. Even their training did not prepare them to stand in the same hall as the box. The heavy doors opened, and she entered. The queen of the alien race walked slowly into the chamber. Her presence made every voice fall silent. Her tall, graceful figure seemed to glow under the crystal light. Long silver hair flowed down her shoulders like rivers of liquid light. Her emerald green eyes glowed with a fire that seemed both beautiful and terrifying. Her gown was unlike anything seen before, woven from threads that shimmered with starlight, covered in patterns that changed shape with every step. A crown rested lightly on her head, made of glowing crystals that hummed with power. Every alien in the room bowed deeply. Some trembled, but her gaze was not on them. It moved to the pedestal and then stopped on one man. The human, Captain Elias Kane, the ambassador from Earth, stood at the far side of the hall. He was not dressed in armor or in royal robes. He wore his dark navy uniform, decorated only with the silver mark of his rank. His face was calm, but his eyes followed every detail, every movement, every shadow. The queen raised her hand, and the air itself seemed to freeze. When she spoke, her voice was soft but carried across the hall like thunder. Tonight, the challenge begins. Her words echoed through the chamber. No one dared to breathe. She stepped toward the box, her gown whispering against the crystal floor. This is no ordinary object. This box holds my destiny. Inside it lies the truth of my future, and the future of anyone who dares to claim it. Whoever opens it will face what lies within. If they survive the test, they will be bound to me, and I to them. But if they fail, her lips curved into the faintest smile, they will not leave this hall alive. A wave of gasps swept through the nobles. Some lowered their eyes. Others shook their heads. The soldiers did not move, but their hands tightened on their weapons as though preparing for violence. The queen's gaze turned, and her emerald eyes locked on Captain Kane. "Human," she said softly, though her voice carried like fire through the hall. "Do your kind have the courage to open what all others fear?" The hall went completely still. Every alien face turned toward Kane. The pressure was crushing. He could feel hundreds of eyes on him. His heartbeat thundered in his chest. This was not what he had come for. He had been sent as a representative of Earth to negotiate peace, to show humanity's strength and dignity. But this was no treaty. This was something dangerous, something personal. And yet, when he looked into her eyes, he felt something he could not explain. It was more than beauty. It was power, challenge, fate. The queen tilted her head slightly, her silver hair falling across her shoulder. Her voice lowered, almost like a whisper only for him. "Open it," she said. "Prove that humanity is more than words. Prove that you are worthy to stand before me." Every step he took echoed across the hall. His boots hit the crystal floor with a sound that seemed too loud in the silence. Each step felt heavier than the last. The nobles whispered again, some mocking, some fearful. The box pulsed brighter as he drew near, as if it sensed him. The hum grew louder, filling his head, vibrating through his bones. His hands tingled. His vision blurred for a moment. Strange voices whispered in his mind, in languages he did not understand. But he did not stop. At last, he stood before the box. Its golden light washed over his face, making his shadow stretch long across the hall. The heat from it was sharp, almost burning. He reached out a trembling hand. The queen's voice, low and commanding, broke the silence. "Open it." His fingers touched the surface. Instantly, the symbols flared bright. They swirled, rearranging, until they formed words he could read. Words in human language. They spelled, "Yes." Kane froze. The queen's lips curved into a slow, knowing smile. With a sharp click, the box unlocked. A blinding golden light exploded upward, filling the chamber like a storm. The air roared, the ground shook, and the soldiers staggered back. Nobles shielded their eyes with trembling hands. But Kane stood his ground. The light wrapped around him like fire and ice at once. He felt his blood burn, his heart race, his mind filled with voices that screamed and whispered all at once. And then, from the light, a figure rose. It was tall, made of pure energy, its form shifting between human and alien shapes. Its face was half familiar, half strange, like a reflection caught in moving water. Its voice boomed through the hall. "Who dares to claim the Queen of Stars?" Kane's mouth went dry, but his voice did not shake. He stood tall and answered, "I am Captain Elias Kane of Earth." "I dare." The figure's blazing eyes studied him. The silence stretched like a blade hanging in the air. Then the figure laughed. The sound shook the crystal walls, a laugh both terrifying and powerful. "Very well. The challenge begins." The light swirled higher. The queen's emerald eyes sparkled, not with doubt, but with something more dangerous, curiosity, excitement, perhaps even hunger. And Kane knew then that this was not just a marriage game. It was the beginning of a trial that could change the fate of two worlds. The golden light from the box did not fade. It spread wider, filling the great hall with a storm of energy. The soldiers raised their weapons, unsure if they should protect their queen or themselves. The nobles clung to each other, some praying in whispers, others watching with hungry eyes. Captain Elias Kane stood in the center, bathed in the glow. The figure of pure energy hovered above him, its shifting form both human and alien, its voice echoing like thunder. "The first trial begins now," it declared. The floor shook. Cracks spread across the crystal ground, glowing with fire. The pedestal holding the box shattered, and the pieces floated into the air as if gravity had forgotten them. The storm of light pulled Kane forward, dragging him to the center of the hall. The queen did not move. She watched him with those emerald eyes, calm and unblinking. Her lips curved in a faint smile, as if this was exactly what she wanted. Kane clenched his fists, steadying his breath. He had been through battles before. He had seen fire, war, and death, but nothing in his training had prepared him for this. This was not a fight with soldiers. This was something older, something that tested more than weapons. The figure of light stretched its arms. The challenge of truth, it thundered. Let the human face what he fears most. The hall dissolved around Kane. The soldiers, the nobles, the queen, all vanished. He stood in darkness, endless and cold. A weight pressed down on him, heavy and suffocating. Then the darkness formed shapes. He saw Earth, cities burning, ships falling from the sky, people running, screaming, their faces twisted in terror. He saw soldiers, his own comrades, lying broken on the ground. And there, among them, he saw his younger brother, eyes staring lifeless at the sky. "No!" Kane whispered, his throat dry. The voice of the figure boomed through the dark. "This is your fear, human, the failure of your kind, the death of all you love. Can you stand against it, or will it crush you?" The images grew sharper. He could hear the screams, smell the smoke, feel the heat of fire licking at his skin. His hands shook. For a moment, he wanted to fall, to close his eyes and let it consume him. But then he remembered something. The queen's eyes, the way she had looked at him, the silent challenge. And deeper than that, he remembered Earth not as a burning ruin, but as home, the green fields of his childhood, his brother laughing, alive, the strength of his people, who had survived wars, plagues, and enemies before. Humanity was not weak. Humanity endured. He straightened his back. His voice rose, steady and clear. "This is not the future," he said. "This is fear. Fear does not control me. Humanity does not bow to shadows." The burning earth flickered. The screams grew faint. The darkness shook as if struck by an unseen force. The figure's voice thundered again. "You resist, but can you rise?" The ground beneath him split open. From cracks, monstrous shapes crawled out, giant beasts with claws like knives, faces twisted and hollow, eyes burning red. They surrounded him, hundreds of them, hissing and growling. Cain's heart pounded. His hands were empty, no weapon to fight them. The nearest beast lunged, claws raised. But Cain did not run. He stepped forward. He shouted with all his strength, his voice cutting through the dark. "I am human. I do not fear monsters." The beasts froze. Their bodies trembled, then shattered into shards of shadow. One by one they fell apart, dissolving into nothing. The darkness cracked open, replaced by golden light. Cain stood alone, breathing hard but unbroken. The figure of light appeared again, towering above him. Its voice was no longer thunder, but something softer. "You have faced your fear, human. You have seen death and did not kneel. The first trial is complete." The golden light swirled around him again. The hall returned. The soldiers blinked confused, as if no time had passed. The nobles gasped when they saw him still standing. Some looked shocked, others angry. The queen had not moved, but her smile was wider now, and there was fire in her eyes. Cain turned to her. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. "Is this what you wanted?" he asked. The queen stepped forward slowly, her gown shimmering like liquid stars. She stood close enough they could see the faint glow of her skin, the dangerous beauty of her face. "Yes," she said softly, "you passed the first trial. But there are more." Her hand brushed the edge of the glowing box. "Each trial will strip away more than fear. It will test your mind, your strength, your will. At the end, only one truth will remain. If you reach it, you will be bound to me. If you fail..." She did not finish. She did not need to. The nobles whispered louder now. Some laughed at the madness of it. Others spoke with awe. The soldiers shifted uneasily, glancing between their queen and the human who had just survived what no alien dared attempt. Cain wiped the sweat from his brow. His voice was calm, steady but sharp. "Then let the next trial come. Humanity does not back down." The queen's smile deepened. Her emerald eyes glowed brighter. And in that moment, everyone in the hall understood something they had not before. This was no simple game. This was war in another form. And the human had just taken the first step. The great hall had not recovered from the storm of light. Cracks still glowed faintly on the crystal floor. The nobles whispered in fearful voices, some praising the human's courage, others demanding his execution before the trials went further. But the queen silenced them with a single gesture. Her emerald eyes stayed locked on Cain, studying him like a hunter watching prey, or perhaps like someone testing a weapon. He stood tall, sweat still shining on his face from the first trial. His heart raced, but he refused to show fear. Humanity had survived fear. Now something worse was coming. He could feel it. The box pulsed again. Golden light bled from its cracks, swirling upward like smoke. The figure of energy appeared once more, taller than before, its eyes blazing like suns. "The second trial begins," it declared, its voice shaking the crystal walls. "The trial of strength." The nobles gasped. Soldiers shifted uneasily. Strength was not about fear. Strength was survival. The floor split open, and the hall transformed again. The walls stretched wider, taller, until the chamber became a vast arena. Torches of blue fire burned along the edges. The nobles and soldiers now sat high above, like spectators in a coliseum. Cain stood alone in the center. The queen appeared in the royal balcony, her silver hair flowing like a river of light, her eyes never leaving him. Her expression was unreadable, but there was something dangerous in the way her lips curved slightly, as though she knew what was coming. The ground shook. A deep roar rose from the arena floor. From the cracks in the crystal ground, A beast pulled itself into the open. It was massive. Its body was covered in dark, metallic scales. For arms, each ending in claws longer than Cain's arm, scraped against the floor. Its head was like a lion mixed with a reptile, with burning red eyes and teeth that dripped acid. Steam rose from its back, and its roar shook dust from the ceiling. The nobles cheered, their voices filled with excitement and cruelty. Some shouted for the beast to tear him apart. Others laughed, eager to see the human fail. Cain's jaw tightened. He had fought many enemies before, soldiers, raiders, even machines. But this was something different. This was a monster born for one purpose: destruction. The figure of energy spoke again, its voice echoing through the arena. To pass this trial, the human must defeat the beast. No weapons shall aid him, only his strength, his will, and his courage. The beast roared again, louder this time, and charged. Cain dove aside just in time. The ground cracked where the claws struck, crystal shards exploding into the air. He rolled, came to his feet, and backed away, his eyes locked on the creature. The nobles laughed louder now. They thought it was a game. To them, he was a fragile thing about to be crushed. The queen did not laugh. She leaned forward on her balcony, her eyes sharp and focused. The beast lunged again, faster than before. Cain ducked under its swing, grabbed a fallen crystal shard, and jammed it against the beast's scales. The shard snapped in half. The beast didn't even notice. Cain cursed under his breath and jumped back as the monster's tail whipped past him, slicing the air. He had no weapons, no armor, nothing but his body, but he refused to give in. The creature roared, opening its jaws wide. Acid sprayed across the floor, hissing as it burned holes in the crystal. The smell of smoke filled the air. Cain barely rolled away in time, the heat scorching his uniform. The nobles roared with laughter now, but their voices faded when Cain stood again. His chest heaved, his arms burned, but his eyes were steady. He remembered his training, how strength was not only muscle but mind. His commanders had taught him, use the enemy's power against them. The beast swung again, claws slamming down. Cain ran toward it instead of away. At the last second, he slid between its arms, rolling under its chest. The beast tried to twist, but its massive size worked against it. Cain leapt onto its back, grabbing one of the sharp crystal spines jutting from its body. The beast roared, thrashing, slamming itself against the walls. Cain held tight, his muscles screaming. The crystal spine cut into his hand, blood dripping, but he did not let go. He climbed higher, pulling himself toward the beast's head. His breath came in sharp bursts, his arms on fire, but he forced himself forward. At last, he reached the back of its neck. The beast tried to throw him off, but Cain drove his bloody hand deep into the glowing gap between armor plates. With a roar of his own, he yanked the spine free. The beast froze. The glow in its eyes flickered. Then its body shook violently before collapsing to the ground with a thunderous crash. The arena fell silent. Dust filled the air. Cain slid off the beast's back, landing hard on the ground. He staggered to his feet, chest heaving, sweat and blood mixing on his skin. But he was still alive. The nobles stared in shock. Some whispered that no one had ever slain the beast. Others swore it was impossible without weapons. The queen's eyes locked on him. For the first time, her calm mask broke, just a little. Her lips parted, and a flicker of something passed across her face. Surprise, respect, maybe even admiration. The figure of energy appeared again, standing tall over the dead beast. Its voice boomed across the arena. The human has passed the trial of strength. He has fought without weapons. He has turned weakness into power. The second trial is complete. The golden light wrapped around Cain again. His wounds burned, then sealed. His breath steadied. His blood vanished, as if the light itself healed him. He lifted his head toward the queen. His voice was hoarse, but steady. "Is that enough for you?" The queen leaned forward, her emerald eyes burning brighter than before. "Not yet, human," she said softly. "You have taken 2 steps. But the path ahead is far darker. The next trial will not test your body. It will test your heart." The nobles gasped. The trial of the heart was spoken of only in whispers. Cain wiped the sweat from his brow. His voice was firm. Then I'll face it. The queen's smile returned, sharp and dangerous. Good, because only the strongest heart survive it. The great hall grew colder as the mysterious box lay between Daniel and the alien queen. The light inside the box pulsed like a heartbeat. Every beat seemed to whisper a strange sound, almost like a voice. The aliens around them leaned forward, watching closely. Daniel's eyes fixed on the queen. She stood tall, her silver hair glowing under the crystal lights, her crown shimmering with golden sparks. But her face showed something new, fear. For the first time, the queen looked nervous. Daniel took a deep breath. "What's inside? What's so dangerous that even you are afraid?" he asked. The queen hesitated. Her emerald green eyes flickered. She lowered her voice. "This box does not only test courage. It tests the truth of the heart. If you open it with lies, it will destroy you. If you open it with fear, it will consume you. But if you open it with strength and honesty, it may give you power or love." The aliens murmured among themselves. Some looked excited, others worried. Daniel frowned. "You're telling me it's alive?" The queen nodded slowly. "It is older than my people, older than the stars we follow. It chooses who is worthy. My challenge to you is not just about marriage. It is about proving that humans can be trusted to hold power meant for rulers of worlds." Daniel's heart raced. He was just a soldier, a man pulled into this alien game by chance. Why him? Why not someone else? The queen's voice softened, almost like a whisper. "Do you feel it? The box is calling to you." Daniel turned his eyes back to the glowing object. The whispers grew louder in his mind. He could hear words forming now. "Open me. Claim me. Show me your truth." His hand twitched. He wanted to touch it, but he pulled back. The queen stepped closer. Her gown brushed against the marble floor, leaving trails of light. She was so close now Daniel could see the golden flecks in her eyes. "If you walk away, my people will call you coward. They will never respect humans. If you open it, you may win more than their respect. You may win me." Daniel froze. The challenge was no longer just about pride. It was about survival, trust, and something far more dangerous, the queen's heart. Suddenly, one of the alien advisors shouted from the shadows. He was tall, with bronze-colored skin and glowing blue markings across his arms. His voice was sharp like thunder. "My queen, this is madness. A human cannot face the box. It will consume him. And then it will consume us all. End this now." The queen raised her hand, silencing him. "Enough. The box has chosen. It glows for him, not for you. Do you wish to defy it?" The advisor lowered his head, but his eyes burned with hatred as he glared at Daniel. Daniel swallowed hard. He felt trapped between destiny and death. The box glowed brighter, as if sensing his hesitation. The whispers turned into a clear voice now. "Do not fear. Truth is stronger than fear." He reached forward. His fingers touched the surface of the box. It was warm, too warm, like holding living fire. The glow spread through his hand, running up his arm. He gasped. The queen's breath caught in her throat. She leaned closer, whispering so only he could hear. "Steady yourself. Do not let it see weakness." Daniel gritted his teeth. The box began to open on its own, as though his touch had unlocked it. A beam of golden light shot into the air, filling the hall. The aliens shielded their eyes. And then the whispering voice spoke aloud. The sound echoed everywhere, deep and endless, as though the stars themselves were speaking. "Human, why you seek me?" Daniel's knees nearly buckled. His voice trembled, but he forced himself to speak. "I don't seek you. You called me. If you want truth, then here it is. I am afraid, but I will not run. If I must face you, I will face you honestly." The light around him pulsed brighter, almost blinding. The queen's eyes widened. She had never seen the box respond this way. Slowly, she whispered to herself, "He may be the one." The voice from the box spoke again, louder this time. "Then show me your heart, human. Show me if it is worthy of a queen." The hall went silent. The air grew heavy. Daniel stood at the center, glowing with golden fire. Every alien watching in silence. The next moment would decide everything: his fate, the Queen's challenge, and perhaps the future of both their worlds. The box was open now, but its true test had only just begun. The golden light from the box grew brighter, wrapping around Daniel like chains made of fire and stars. The aliens in the hall gasped as his body lifted slowly off the floor. His feet dangled above the marble. The Queen stepped forward, her eyes locked on him. Her voice was firm but filled with worry. "Stay strong, human. The box is not only light. It is a mirror. It will show you what hides inside your heart." Daniel tried to speak, but his voice was gone. The light swallowed him whole, pulling him into another world. He blinked and found himself standing in a silent field. The sky above was dark, filled with swirling red clouds. The ground cracked under his boots like burning ash. In the distance, he saw shadows moving. A cold voice echoed, "Human, you claim truth. Now prove it. Face what you fear most." The shadows took shape. Soldiers, his old squad from Earth. They marched toward him with lifeless eyes. Their faces were pale, broken, as if they blamed him. Daniel's chest tightened. These were men he once knew, friends he lost in battle. He remembered their screams, their last breaths, and the guilt that never left him. One soldier pointed at him. "You left us. You survived while we died. You carry blood on your hands." Daniel stumbled back. His throat burned. "No, I tried to save you. I did everything I could." The shadows closed in, their voices cold and sharp. "Liar, you fight for glory, not for us. You fear being forgotten more than you fear death." Daniel dropped to his knees. The words cut deep because they were true. Deep inside, he feared he wasn't enough, that he lived while better men were buried. The voice of the box boomed. "Will you run from your guilt, human, or will you face it?" Daniel clenched his fists. His breathing grew heavy. Slowly, he stood again, facing the accusing shadows. His voice shook, but he spoke with strength. "You are right. I am afraid. I carry guilt. I failed to save you. But I did not fight for glory. I fought because it was my duty, because I believe humans must never bow. Even now I stand because of you. Your memory gives me strength. I will never forget you." The shadows paused. The red clouds cracked apart. One by one, the soldiers raised their hands in a silent salute. Then they faded into light. Daniel's chest loosened. His body shook, but he stood tall. The scene shifted again. Now he was standing in a throne room of fire and crystal. And there she was, the alien queen, but not the same as before. This queen's eyes glowed with burning green flames. Her silver hair whipped like living smoke. She looked like a goddess of war. She stepped down the stairs toward him. Her voice was sharp, echoing across the room. "You desire me, human. You want to claim me, to rule beside me. But is it for love or power?" Daniel's lips parted, but no words came. The Queen's fiery image circled him. "Men have fought for me. Kings have begged for my hand. Worlds have bled to win my favor. Why are you any different? Speak the truth." Her face came close to his, so close he could feel the heat of her fire. "Do you want me as a queen or as a prize?" Daniel's heart pounded. The box wasn't only showing his fears, it was testing his deepest desire. He knew if he lied, the box would know. If he stayed silent, it would destroy him. He took a slow breath and spoke clearly. "I don't want you as a prize. I don't even know if I deserve you. But I see your strength, your courage. You are more than beauty. You are fire, and I don't want to rule you. I want to stand beside you. If that is not enough, then take my life here." The fiery queen stared at him. For a long moment, there was silence. Then her flame softened, fading back into light. Her voice, now calm, whispered, "Truth, at last." The golden light cracked open again. Daniel gasped as he was thrown back into the great hall. His knees hit the floor hard. His chest burned, sweat dripping from his face. The real queen stood above him, her eyes wide with shock. The box floated beside him, glowing brighter than ever before. The aliens murmured in fear and awe. No human, or even alien, had survived the trial of the heart before. The queen bent down, her silver hair brushing against his cheek. Her voice trembled. You did not break. Daniel lifted his head. His voice was hoarse but steady. I told the truth. That's all. The queen's lips curved into the faintest smile, but her eyes still held mystery. She touched the box gently, and it quieted, folding shut as if it were satisfied. But before Daniel could breathe in relief, the bronze-skinned advisor stepped forward. His eyes glowed with rage. This is wrong, he shouted. The box chose him. Yes, but it is not over. If the human marries the queen, it means our people bow to his kind. I will never allow it. He raised a staff, and sparks of blue fire burst into the air. The hall shook. The challenge had awakened something far more dangerous than the box. The great hall shook as the bronze-skinned advisor raised his staff. Blue fire danced across the air, painting the walls with shadows. The aliens gasped and stepped back, forming a circle around the center of the hall. The queen's eyes narrowed. Advisor Koroth, stand down. The box has spoken. But Koratha's voice thundered with anger. No, the box may have tested him, but I will not let a human rule beside you. Your marriage is not just your choice. It is the destiny of our people. And I say this human is unworthy. Daniel's heart raced. He was still weak from the trial, his body shaking, but he forced himself to stand. His eyes locked on Koroth. The queen stepped forward, placing herself between them. Her voice was sharp, cold like steel. Koroth, you dare challenge the will of the box? Karotha's blue eyes glowed brighter. The box tests the heart, but I test strength. Let him prove not only his soul, but his body. If he fails, he dies. If he wins, I will bow. The aliens cheered the words, their voices rising like thunder. They want to see blood. Daniel swallowed hard. His body screamed to rest, but he knew there was no escape. He turned to the queen. If I refuse? Her gaze softened, but her words were heavy. Then they will call you coward. And our bond, our marriage, will be broken before it begins. Daniel nodded slowly. Then I fight. The hall changed. With a command from a queen, the crystal floor shifted, creating a wide circle in the center. The ground lit up with glowing runes, marking the dueling space. Koroth stepped inside, his tall body towering over Daniel. His bronze skin glimmered under the lights, his glowing markings pulsing with energy. He gripped his staff tightly, and sparks of blue fire leapt from its tip. Daniel had no weapon. His hands were empty. The queen raised her hand, summoning a servant. A sword was brought forward, sleek and sharp, forged of alien steel that shimmered with silver light. She placed it in Daniel's hands. Her eyes met his. This blade is true. Let it carry your strength. Daniel nodded, gripping the sword. It felt heavy but solid. He took a deep breath. The queen raised her voice for all to hear. This is the duel for the queen. No mercy, no retreat, only truth in combat. Begin. Koroth struck first. His staff shot a wave of blue fire that roared across the floor. Daniel rolled to the side, barely escaping the heat. The ground where he had stood cracked and burned. He charged forward, swinging his sword. Koroth blocked with his staff, sparks flying as steel clashed against alien energy. The sound echoed through the hall like thunder. Karotha's strength was immense. Each strike pushed Daniel back, his arms trembling under the pressure. But Daniel held on, his teeth gritted, refusing to fall. You are weak, human. Koroth roared. A child compared to us. You will never rule here. Daniel pushed back, his voice sharp. I don't want to rule you. I just won't be broken by you. He ducked under a sweeping strike, slashing across Karotha's arm. The bronze skin burned with a silver mark. The aliens gasped. It was the first time anyone had seen their advisor bleed. Karotha's rage exploded. His markings blazed brighter, his staff glowing like a star. He slammed it against the ground, and a shockwave blasted Daniel across the dueling circle. Daniel hit the floor hard, the sword slipping from his hand. The crowd roared, cheering Karotha's strength. The queen's face tightened with fear, but she did not move. This was Daniel's fight alone. Koroth raised the staff, pointing at Daniel. End this, human. Accept death with honor. Daniel groaned, blood on his lip. His body screamed to stay down, but his mind burned with fire. He thought of his fallen squad, the trial of the heart, and the queen's eyes watching him. Slowly, he crawled toward his sword. Koroth laughed. Still crawling? Pathetic. Daniel's hand gripped the hilt. He forced himself to stand, his legs shaking but steady. He raised the sword high. I am still here, and I am not done. The aliens grew silent. Even Koroth's laughter stopped. With a roar, Daniel charged. Koroth swung his staff, blue fire blazing. Daniel ducked low, sliding across the crystal floor. He slashed upward, striking the staff with all his strength. The sword cut through the staff. A crack of light burst, and the weapon shattered. The explosion threw both men back. When the light faded, Daniel stood holding his sword, glowing with silver light. Koroth lay on the ground, his staff broken, his markings dimmed. The hall was silent. Then the aliens began to shout, not in anger, but in awe. The human has won. The duel is over. Daniel's chest heaved. He turned to the queen. Her eyes were wide with pride and something more, admiration. Koroth groaned, his voice broken. This cannot be. The queen stepped forward, her gown glowing under the crystal light. She looked down at Koroth. It is done. The human has proven himself. The box chose him. The duel confirms him. From this day forward, he stands as my equal. The aliens bowed their heads, though some did so with bitterness. Daniel lowered his sword, sweat dripping, his body trembling. But inside, a new fire burned. He had survived the trial. He had survived the duel. Yet he knew it was not over. For as the queen turned to him, her voice soft but firm, she whispered words only he could hear. You have won today. But tomorrow, the true choice will come. The box is not finished with you. Daniel froze. His victory was real, but the game was far from over. The hall was still glowing with energy from the duel. Daniel stood with the silver sword in his hand, his chest rising and falling as he caught his breath. The aliens around him whispered, their voices filled with awe, fear, and curiosity. The queen raised her hand, silencing the crowd. Her green eyes shone as she looked at Daniel. You have passed the trial of the heart. You have won the duel for the queen. By our laws, no one can deny you now. But even as she spoke, the box floated up between them once more. Its golden glow pulsed, stronger than before. The whispers returned, filling the air with an unearthly sound. The aliens gasped and stepped back. The queen's face grew tense. No, the box is not finished. Daniel stared at it. The voice of the box boomed, deeper than thunder, echoing in every corner of the hall. Human, you have shown truth. You have shown strength. But now comes the final choice. Do you seek the queen for love? Or do you seek the throne for power? Only one truth may be chosen. The words hit Daniel like a blade. His stomach tightened. The queen's gaze locked on him, her face unreadable. She spoke softly, though everyone could hear. This is the moment. The box does not lie. If you choose me for power, it will burn you alive. If you choose me for love, it will bind us forever. Speak carefully. Daniel's heart pounded. He looked at the queen, her silver hair glowing like liquid light, her emerald eyes burning into him, her strength and beauty beyond anything he had ever known. He also looked at the throne behind her, carved from crystal and gold, glowing with a weight of power that could change the fate of entire worlds. The aliens leaned forward, holding their breath. The box pulsed again. Choose, human. Daniel closed his eyes. Memories flooded back, the faces of his fallen squad, the trial of the heart, the duel with Koroth. He thought of Earth, of his people, of the queen's courage. And he realized something. Slowly, he opened his eyes and spoke with steady voice. I don't want your throne. I don't want power. I want you. Not as a prize, not as a crown, but as someone who stood beside me when I was afraid. I choose love. The hall went silent. For a moment, even the box stopped glowing. Then, with a burst of golden light, it opened wide. The glow spread across the hall, wrapping Daniel and the queen in warmth. The box's voice spoke one last time. Truth has been chosen. The bond is sealed. Together, you are stronger than fate. The box folded shut and vanished into the air, leaving behind silence and awe. The queen's emerald eyes softened. She stepped closer, her hand reaching for his. For the first time, her proud face showed something rare. Hope. She whispered, "You have done what no other could. You chose not just me, but honesty itself." Daniel smiled weakly, gripping her hand. "Guess the box liked my answer." The crowd erupted in cheers. Some shouted with joy, others bowed their heads in respect. Even Karaf, still kneeling from defeat, lowered his gaze in reluctant acceptance. The queen raised Daniel's hand high for all to see. Her voice rang out across the hall. "From this day he is my chosen, not because of the box, not because of the duel, but because he spoke the truth. Let all worlds know, our bond is sealed." The aliens bowed in unison. The marriage challenge had ended. Later that night, when the hall was empty and the echoes of cheering had faded, Daniel stood beside the queen on a high balcony. Stars stretched across the black sky, brighter than he had ever seen. The queen's silver hair flowed in the night wind. She looked at him quietly. "You do not yet understand what you have done. The box was not only a test of the heart. It was a key. By opening it, you linked your fate to mine. If I fall, you fall. If you rise, I rise." Daniel stared at her, silent. She smiled softly, almost sadly. "You were a soldier of Earth. Now you are more. You are the bond between two worlds." Daniel exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of her words. He wasn't just a survivor anymore. He was part of something far greater. He looked out at the stars and whispered, "Then we face whatever comes, together." The queen's emerald eyes shone. She leaned closer, her voice warm against the night. "Together." And for the first time, the human soldier and the alien queen stood as one. Not enemies, not strangers, but partners bound by truth, love, and destiny. The challenge was over, but their story had only just begun.